Hi guys, we scoured the tire gauge market before buying and testing 8 of the best options head-to-head. Running the right tire pressure reduces wear and tear, increases fuel efficiency, and offers a smoother ride. To reap these rewards, you need to check your tires at least once a month. An easy-to-use pressure gauge will help you stick to the schedule, but it's hard to know which one will work for you. Our experts pulled out the air compressor and tested the accuracy, ease of use, and durability of these gauges to help. Then we tossed them in glove compartments and toolboxes to try them out in the wild. Keep reading to find an excellent gauge for your needs and budget. So, let's get started. Number 8, Rhino USA Heavy Duty Pressure Gauge. Now you can get it at around $19 features, although the brass chuck can swivel 360 degrees and the construction feels reasonably solid. The Rhino USA Heavy Duty Pressure Gauge's braided hose picked up a concerning kink early on in our testing. The chuck is also shallower than the other tire gauge options, making it easier to accidentally release air than to get a solid pressure reading. While this gauge seems fairly accurate, every reading we took dropped. It still seems to work, but we like the other dial options better. The gauge face glows in the dark and is a little easier to read than the JACO model. Since it only measures to 75 psi, its tick marks are conveniently spaced further apart. Dial gauges generally require more care than the digital options in the test, but we were surprised at how quickly this one got damaged. If you want a dial gauge made in the US, this gauge certainly works, but we're a little worried about its durability. The next is Number 7, Topeak Smart Gauge D2. Now you can get it at around $27 features. We've used a Topeak Smart Gauge D2 on our bike tires for years. Since we always have it handy, it's an obvious choice to keep our car tires running right as well. It's small, easy to hold, and its head rotates 180 degrees. It's also tough. We toss it in our pack daily with no issues. It's the only tool in the test that switches easily between Presta valves and Schraders. The Smart Gauge D2 also reads higher pressures than many other options, so it's great for road bikes. The large LCD is easy to read, and it measures pressure to 1 psi. We also like that it has a bleeder valve. Unfortunately, the Topeak Smart Gauge D2 is among the least consistent gauges tested. The head is shallow, making it easy to depress the tire valve at the wrong angle. When we line it up carefully, we come away with an accurate reading and release very little excess air. But, even when trying, we often get it wrong and come away with wildly inaccurate readings. A few tries will give you good reading, but then it's hard to trust. The bleeder valve is also finicky. You have to press the tune button to use it and again when you stop. We still like the Topeak's compact and versatile nature, but we prefer a gauge we don't have to second guess. The next is Number 6, TireTech 0 to 60 psi. Now you can get it at around $12 features. The TireTech 0 to 60 psi is a cinch to use and read. It was accurate in our tests and is certified to be accurate to plus 2% by the American National Standards Institute. Certification is not the end-all be-all of accuracy, but we appreciate it. The TireTech combines the easy readability and precise air release of a dial gauge with the compact chuck of a stick valve. It's easy to grip in one hand, and the bright white display and scant 60 tick marks of measurement clearly show your tire PSI. The full circle swivel chuck is deep enough to ensure a secure valve connection, and you can always adjust it to have the dial facing you. Despite these benefits, this gauge isn't perfect. It has a low pressure range, which makes it easy to read, but it's too low for most road bikes. The rubber cover supplies some protection from impacts. For a reasonable price, you can own a compact, easy to use and read, battery-free steel and brass gauge. The next is Number 5, Astro AI Digital 150 psi. Now you can get it at around $11 features. The Astro AI Digital 150 psi is our favorite option for quick nighttime readings. You can hold it in one hand, and the lighted nozzle and bright blue LCD make it easy to read your tire pressure to within 0.1 psi in pitch black conditions. The screen is equally easy to see during the day and quickly cycles through its 4 different unit options with the touch of its one universal button. There is no off switch, and the gauge turns itself off after 30 or 40 seconds to save its batteries. The gauge's curved lines mean it's hard to line up at a right angle, and we often had to take the pressure a few times, accidentally letting out excess air in the process, before we were able to get a good seal. Still, it was more consistent than some other options in the test. This model is lightweight, which we like, but it rattles out of the box, and it requires 4 batteries, which seems a bit excessive. Still, this gauge is a good option that never forces you to work too hard to get a reading, especially at night. The next is number 4, Astro AI Digital Dual Head 230 PSI. Now you can get it at around $20 features. For tires with inward-facing valves or any tire that requires higher pressures, the Astro AI Digital Dual Head 230 PSI tire gauge is a good option. The gauge forms a good seal with the tire valve in both directions, and its bright green, backlit LCD screen is effortless to read. Its automatic flashlight can also help you find your tire valve in low light. The stainless steel chuck is sturdy, and the 2 AAA batteries are straightforward to replace. Since the gauge is long, you can operate it further from the tire valve, but this makes it easier to mess up your alignment, let out excess air, and compromise your pressure reading. It works with practice, but you get better readings and lose less air if you use 2 hands. This is a big tire gauge. It could make sense to haul along for longer road trips or cross-country truckers, but it's a bit overkill for most passenger cars. Some of our testers think it is a great option to keep in the shop as a backup. Others were willing to compromise on space to have a sturdy and easily readable gauge with a built-in flashlight. The next is number 3, Milton S921 Pencil Gauge. Now you can get it at around $6 features. We will probably always keep one of these classic stick gauges in the car as a backup. The Milton S921 pencil gauge is sturdier than most and made in the USA from plated brass. What these analog gauges have going for them is that they're nearly impossible to break, and their small size lets them slip into even the most overstuffed glove box. With only one moving part and no batteries to drain or freeze in low temperatures, this gauge will work under almost all circumstances. It also has a built-in deflator tab on the back of the gauge, though it won't let you set a specific amount of air to release. On the downside, stick gauges aren't exact, and the Milton doesn't escape this universal problem. This gauge was consistently 1 psi higher than all other gauges tested. In an emergency, it can give you some idea of what is going on with your tires, but it isn't the tool to nail an exact tire pressure. On the positive side, it offers foolproof operation at a bargain price and a compact size that fits most space restrictions. The next is number 2, JACO Elite Pro 100 PSI. Now you can get it at around $19 features. The JACO Elite Pro 100 PSI is one of the most accurate tire gauges in our test. We liked its sturdy feel and how easy it was to get a good seal on the tire valve. The 360-degree swivel chuck is deeper than the similar Rhino option, holding the tire valve in place and making it easier to get an accurate reading on the first try. Dial-style gauges also have a few advantages. One is a bleeder valve that shows you how much air you are releasing as you go, and the JACO performs this task well thanks to its secure seal. Another advantage is that these battery-free gauges aren't as affected by cold weather as digital options. The JACO can also glow in the dark for easy nighttime readings. The JACO is well made, and the leak-proof rubber air hose seems durable, as do the brass chuck and connection points. But, while the spiky rubber helps guard this model, dial gauges are less durable by nature. That's worrisome since this gauge is one of the pricier options. The long hose is also bulky, making this a less practical choice for a glove box. If you're looking for an accurate gauge that doesn't require batteries to store in your car, toolbox, or garage, we recommend this one. The next is number 1, Accutire MS4021 Digital. Now you can get it at around $16 features. The Accutire MS4021 Digital didn't win any points for fancy aesthetics, but it gets the job done right more often than any other model we tested and is our overall favorite tire gauge. Its ergonomic shape places the driving force of your thumb in line with the tire valve for a consistently accurate reading. The rubber-coated handle is pleasant to the touch and comfortable for varying hand sizes. The display freezes on your pressure reading, so you don't have to scramble to get a good look at it. The Accutire is accurate to 0.5 psi, and you can calibrate it at any time. It even works at a lower temperature than most digital gauges, operating in the range of 14 to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. The digital display is a reasonable size, but it can still be hard on the eyes. You usually have to pull it away from the tire and angle the rose-colored LCD toward you to read it. Cycling through unit options is also tricky. You have to press and hold the wake-up button below the valve for several seconds. The Accutire is very lightweight, but this makes it seem cheap. And, when it dies, the 3 alkaline LR44 1.5V coin batteries are a bit of a pain to switch out. Still, this is our favorite gauge in the review and the best option for most folks' glove. So this is the best option for you to buy. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.